solid understanding of how pointers work, we can begin to pass arguments to our functions, and additionally we can begin to use command line arguments inside of our program. So we're going to create a function, a void function, which means it has no return type, called hello world. And what this function is going to do is it's going to take a name as an argument and it's going to print out that name. So we're going to have, and like I said before, function arguments are pointers. And the reason that we pass pointers to functions instead of raw data is because that helps save computational time. It's a lot easier to pass around memory addresses than it is to make copies of data and initialize that in memory. So we just specify, as with any other variable, the type of our argument. We use a star to denote that it's a pointer, and we're going to call that name. So we'll just do printf hello world, my name is Corey. Oh, pass in the name. So the reason we use functions, I say this in every one of my programming tutorial series, you should get it by now, but the reason we use functions is that we don't want to write the same code over and over again. Functions help us abstract our program by making reusable little bits of code that we can call anywhere within our program. So now we're going to create our main function, and we are just going to call the hello world function with a few names. I'll actually add a \n right here, a new line character, and then we'll do this, and then we can even do this, and we'll just return 1 at the end of our program. We'll save our file, we'll head on over to the terminal, we'll do gcc-g main.c, oops. We've compiled our program. We will now run the a.out executable, and we see we have hello world, my name is, whatever. So say we wanted to run our program to take an argument from the command line for that specified the name. Well, the main function has two very special parameters. As you know, main is just where all the code runs. But these two very special parameters have to do with the command line. So the first parameter is Rxc, which is an int. Rxc will represent the length of the number of arguments that we pass to the command line. Then we have a car pointer to a list of cars called argv. So we can just do printf %d, pass in argc. We'll do a for loop, which I don't think I've gone over for loops. But we'll go over them in a later episode. What I'm doing here is I'm just going over each index within the argv variable. So if we recompile and run our program, we can actually do this in one command. Where did I go wrong? Okay. So we recompile and run our program. Oh, let me add a \n here. Boom, boom, boom. So you see that the length of the number of arguments in our program is just 1, and that first argument is just the name of the executable, and in this case is .\a.out. But if I run the executable once more, I can do do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and you'll see that our length is 8. This would be the first argument, second, so on and so forth. So the starting index of a list is always 0. A list is just, well, a list of things that we can loop over. It's just, I like to think of a list as a bunch of houses on a street. So number 0 of the list is the first house, so on and so forth. But anyway, we're going to create the first argument, the second argument to our program. In this case is going to be the name that we want to print out. But before we do that, we want to do a little if clause to make sure that our program is running properly. So, if we're past too many or too few arguments, we want our program to exit and tell the user what's going on, like tell them how to use the program properly. So if argc, let me do this. So if argc is less than 2, or argc greater than 2, we do printf usage %s name. I do argv sub 0. Argv sub 0 is always the name of our program, and we're just going to exit with a return status of -1. So we will recompile and run our program. Oops. gcc-g main.c. Okay, so I need to add the stdlib library. Congrats on making it this far into the video. And I'll run .a.out. So we get our message, and we'll just do more than 2, and we still get the same message. But if we do 2, we see nothing happens because this if clause isn't executed. So I haven't gone over operators like these before, but what this is just saying, this is saying if argc is less than 2, or if argc is greater than 2. The pipe characters mean or. So we'll go over that in a later episode, but it's pretty simple. You can probably figure it out on your own. And if you've programmed before, you've definitely seen that before. But anyway, let us get back to our program. Now we want to greet the world with our name passed from the command line. So we will call the hello world function with our argv with the first argument, or rather with the first index. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that would be the first index with slice number 1 of our argv list, which will be our name. So we will, and then we'll run with the name, and we see hello world, my name is Corey. So in this program, we learned how to create functions that take car pointers as arguments. We use functions to abstract our code, make it reusable, keep it dry. We use pointers and functions because it's computationally easier than passing around data. We also learned about the Rxc and Rgv parameters in main. Rxc is the length of the number of arguments passed to our executable, where Rgv is a list of the arguments passed to our executable. The first argument in Rgv will always be, the 0th argument in Rgv will always be the program name. And that is about it. So guys, thank you so much for watching Corey's Corner. I will see you in the next episode. I think what we're going to do is we're going to go over the conditional operators and maybe and or operators. So I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and check out my podcast. Peace.